Hi, I'm John,
And this is Andrew.
and welcome to episode 7 of the Nerdborne podcast. Technically, episode number 2 of our Dark Souls Nerdout, which is what I've decided we're calling it. And for this episode of Nerdborne, we decided, okay, we're gonna go ahead and just finish the or continue the theme of just going in on Dark Souls, and we decided for this episode. We're gonna talk about the bosses. We kind of talked about that last time for our a conversation that basically ended up being all about the level design. Uh, but here, Andrew, real quick, just off the top of your head, favorite boss in Dark Souls, go.
Uh, I don't know. That's actually a tough one. What do you mean,
Ooh,
like, like favorite boss to fight, or like my favorite boss, like, the just to look at, or
just okay. I
favorite boss
say or I say the words boss in Dark Souls. What's the first thing that comes to your head?
Sif?
Ah, okay.
I have no idea why. Maybe it's because I felt like I think Sif is like one of the sad stories in Dark Souls. Like, I just feel bad for that damn wolf.
Mm,
He's really just guarding his master, and like you gotta you gotta beat him. You know what I mean? It's not a boss you could skip.
yeah.
What about you?
Uh, Ornstein's Smo.
Yeah, that was the second one that popped into my mind.
Uh,
Uh, that,
oh, go ahead.
yeah, that's like one of the very first ones you do. That it's just like a giant pain in the ass.
Hmm.
Like the very first time I faced them, dude. Like I got mollywopped like several times by them. Because not only are they tough, but it's a bitch to get to them too, man.
Hmm.
Because they're in like with a castle full of the large ass knights, you know.
Yep. Uh, the reason I pick, or I would say Ornstein and Smo, is because I suffered when it came to them. Like, don't get me wrong, Dark Souls is a kick in the teeth all the way around, but there's kicks in the teeth, and then there's they kick you in the teeth, and then they try to make you deep throat the boot.
Yeah, for real, dude.
Mm.
And then after that, that they just take that boot and shove it right up your ass.
Hmm. Like that.
Yeah, it's facing two of them at once, man. And like, I don't know if anybody knows this, but obviously, like, which one you kill first? The second one, that's the soul that you get. So, like, if you're gonna 100% it, you at least have to face them twice. And also, like, but it's facing two of them at once, man. And the fucking they got either the beefy, overweight dude hitting you with the big ass hammer, or you got the dude with the damn spear, like shoving it up your ass. Like, it's a pain in the ass, man.
It's it's a trial, that's for certain.
Yeah. Or
Mm.
since we're going to be doing about bosses and everything, I guess we kind of have to like swing back all the way to like the start of it to the Asylum deal. And even though we talked about him a little bit in the first podcast breakdown of the Dark Souls, like I remember we were talking about it and basically how he's just like kind of warming you up for Dark Souls. Like you're gonna
Mhm.
get kicked in the teeth, and your teeth are gonna go down your throat, and you're gonna choke on your teeth. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember what I just want to like remind people that if you do tough it out and you do beat them, and John said, if you get the gift of the fire bombs in the beginning, that you do get the Asylum Demon Hammer. So,
And it's a pretty ballin' strength weapon, and
oh,
I guess kind of leaning into it critically. One reason I like the Asylum Demon for thematic reasons is that um, it really is just kind of he does set the precedent for the rest of the bosses because let's face it, other than Ornstein, all of the bosses you're going to fight are going to be these giant fucking monstrosities,
yeah,
and it really helps set the narrative tone of Dark Souls of that you are just this little pissant, and you will be overcoming these great and terrible things,
yeah.
and you're gonna die a lot to them because let's face it, everybody, that's it. Enough of us went up against the Asylum Demon and kept, trying to whack at it, trying to whack at it, trying to whack at it, and getting our shit wrecked.
Yeah, yep. And that's also It makes you face. You have to face it by yourself. It's not like the other bosses where you get in trouble and you be like, "Hey, let me summon some people to give me a hand here." It's like you gotta. It's all you. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The one thing I do like about the Asylum Demon, how we were talking about on the previous podcast, is that
Mm.
it is like a warm up. Like I like how you put it. Like you're just basically a piss ant. That's a good analogy because that's basically what you are. But also, it's warming you up, man. It's like teaching you, like, hey, learn his move set. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's only got a. I don't know if people know this, but if you could get behind him, you basically get them in a glitch where he's just basically doing two moves over and over again. He's doing like his hammer drive and he's doing like the ground and pound. And all you
Mm.
have to do is just basically stick behind his fat ass, hit him a couple times, then once he goes up, go behind him again, and keep repeating like that. You know, that's how I beat. I beat him. I didn't even use the firebomb. I just beat him with my fists.
Mm.
Took a long ass time, but I got him. And that's but that's all. What I'm trying to say that it's just that it's warming you up for the rest of the game to learn these bosses' move sets. Like you're not going to beat the bosses majority of the time. You're not going to beat the bosses on the first go. I mean, there are a few easy ones here and there, but generally they're gonna beat you down first, and then you're gonna have to learn their move set, come back, re-strategize, and be patient.
Mm.
I think that's the biggest thing about the Asylum Demon that is trying to teach you is like to be patient.
Yeah. And
You know?
there's one thing that's worth pointing out since you mentioned, okay, if you can get behind him and stick to his ass, that is a strategy that will serve you well throughout the entirety of Dark Souls. If you can get in either their crotch or booty and just fucking stick to it, you'll do all right.
Yeah, that's definitely in this podcast at the very least. It's not the last time you're gonna hear him stick behind their booty.
Oh yeah. Uh,
Ride it like a rodeo.
Swiggity swoogity, get that booty.
Yeah. But the next one in line that it takes that uh the next one that you obviously have to do is the bell gargoyles, and we talked about them a little bit on the last
Mm.
podcast too.
Yeah. Uh, the Bell Gargoyles, I think, as a boss, I mean, they're really just kind of, leaning more into that, we are going to kick you in the teeth. Like, I don't really think they serve a whole lot of narrative good. I don't think they really help train the player too much, other than, okay, there are going to be bosses with multiple targets, like it would be fair to call the Bell Gargoyles Ornstein and Smo Light, which is, when you think about it, when they're only basically the second boss in the game, is really kind of a really kind of a hell of a thing. I mean, come on, FromSoft,
Uh,
hurt me more, Daddy, hurt me more.
it really depends. Um, like uh, like why not? Like if I play it now, I thought the gargoyles are like a cakewalk for me. But I remember when I first played this game, they weren't hardly a cakewalk.
Yeah.
They were kind of a pain in the ass. I think for like veterans of like Dark Souls, I don't think it's like that difficult for them. But I think for like newcomers, I think that they would tend to have more of a problem because it not only do they hit hard, you know what I mean, but at the
Mm.
same time, like you're dealing with more than one of them. I mean, when you go into the fight, you're only dealing with one gargoyle, you know, and you're sitting here like, oh, this gargoyle is not that bad. Then woof, here comes his friend. You're like, ah, shit. He shoves a fucking spear up your ass.
Yep. And actually, I do want to backtrack a little bit. There is one thing about the Bell Gargoyles that I do think is a useful lesson
uh,
for players, and that is using the terrain to your advantage, because you fight them on that nice peaked roof, and it doesn't happen often. It doesn't happen often, but there are a couple of attacks where if you are lower than them, uh, the attack will just sail right over your head. So I think maybe that can be a valuable lesson, but I don't think that the boss fight or the arena is necessarily structured to teach you to take advantage of that.
uh,
And I guess a slight aside, tell me, from your personal experience, would you rather be fighting uphill or downhill against something in Dark Souls? Because in my opinion, it's a lot easier to be below something and attacking up than it is to be above something and attacking down.
Yeah, because a lot of a lot of their move sets are like swinging up and shit like that.
Hmm.
Like I agree with you that I would tend to like want to be more downhill than uphill on that. Yeah, I would definitely agree with you on that. Because like a lot of them are just like a lot of the guys, like especially the bosses and shit, they swing at big ass weapons,
Yeah.
and it's usually an upswing. You know what I mean? So if you can get below them, you tend to not get hit by it. Obviously,
Mm.
you know what I mean. And also for somebody somebody that doesn't know, if you get behind the bell gargoyle and you hit attack its tail, it'll fall off and give you a nice little axe there that's kind of fun to use. It's not very strong, but it's fun to use.
Yeah, it's kind of
Okay.
almost a joke weapon almost.
Yeah. It's fun. I mean, it swing the way that its move set it's fun to use, you know what I mean, but it's just not strong.
Yeah.
It's one of those like I'm starting the NG plus run. Let me pull out this axe to deal with the little hollows.
It's maybe it's almost got kind of more of a whip move set now that I think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like a fun little axe to use just because of its move set. Looks pretty cool, but beyond that, like it doesn't really do massive damage. Also, for any new players that are going up against the gargoyles, one thing that'll make this immensely easier for you is not only summoning Solaire of Astoria. Did I say that right?
Yeah,
Ah, yeah.
you did it.
These, these names get me all the time, people. So you could probably hear that ask John more than once if I'm pronouncing them right. But anyways, yeah. Two things that make this boss fight immensely easier is summoning Solaire of Astoria. He's whether you're offline or not, he's there. You just have to not be hollow. And also, if you use gold pine resin, it
Oh
makes
yeah.
a fight. Yeah, you make gold pine resin like you really like hit them 10 times harder if you use a gold pine resin. So just
Uh,
give little tips out there for
mhm.
people that are having trouble.
Oh, and I guess that is another thing that teaches the play, or that it teaches the player of, cutting off tails. Um, because like dragons and stuff like that, there are other bosses where if you cut something off of them, that you'll get a weapon for it.
Yeah,
So, and we previously discussed the strategy of get stick to the ass. So, okay, maybe there's a little more here than I thought, huh?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It teaches you a little bit. It also teaches you like the experiment and everything like that. You know what I mean? Because you kind of have to figure out using that gold pine resin. And it's also like one of the first bosses that where it's like they're giving you an NPC to summon to show
Mm,
you like, hey, if you're having a difficult time, there's an NPC or like other players that can help you out. That's what's one of the things I've always loved about Dark Souls. Like it's immensely hard, but they have like a get out of jail free card, and that's like you can help summon other people to come and help you. Like I'm not one of those people. I generally tend to bang my head up against the wall until I get it down. But at the same time, there are times that I was having a tough time. One of them was like Smorfin Arnstein. But yeah, but I'll look back to that later. But anyways, I like that's the one thing I do like about Dark Souls, and that's what they're teaching you in the Bell Gargoyles. Like if you're having a very tough time, there is a jail get out of free card, and that's
mm,
like summoning people to help you out. And then generally, like when you are trying to summon people, like when Remastered first came out, not the Dark Souls the original, but when they remastered it and it first came out, it was on and popping, and there was like a bunch of vets on there that like would sit there and just like help people out, and like if you're having a trouble at the Bell Gargoyles and it's your first go through, and like you summon one of these vets, like they would basically just beat the boss for you.
mm.
You don't even have to do much. I mean, really, if you wanted to, you just walk through the fog wall, just stand there and watch the guy beat the boss for you. Call them twinkers.
uh, tweak or twinks.
Yeah, the fuckers. I hate them.
uh,
You want to
and
explain what those are for people that don't know?
Okay, a twink is a character that is basically been fed, high level gear and stuff from another player character, either, a person's more advanced character, like a character they beat in the game with, or, a friend or something like that. So, like, imagine, if you will, your character level is only like, say, 19, 20, whatever the level range is for, or that would be appropriate, but you have plus 10 weapons, plus 10 armor, a ton of valuable consumables, stuff like that, spells that you probably wouldn't have been able to access yet, just sort of like that. Basically, it's a way of making a character much more powerful than they could have reasonably been through normal gameplay.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like much more powerful is like such an understatement. Like you basically just one shot the noobs that are walking through the vault. I guess that's something we didn't really talk about when we were talking about that area before the Bell Gargoyles, but that's like the general area where all the twinks hang out and invade people,
Hmm.
bitches. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that bridge coming to
Mm,
that Bell Gargoyle. There's been a bunch of people like who twinks that are, like right there. They use the spell force, the fucking spell force where it
mm,
just basically shoves you and they'll knock me off the bridge, little bastards.
cheating. Well, it ain't
Yeah,
cheating, but it's dirty.
yeah, it's like basically using it's it's like there's this other spell too. I can't think of it on the top of my head. That's just basically like cheating. Like the game, like it's a dark force spell.
Ah,
Can't
okay.
I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. If somebody does remember, drop it in the comments. If I don't remember it later on, I'll say it. But it's basically the spell's fast as hell and it's strong as shit. Like all you really have to do is just sit there and cast it over and over again. And there's really nothing the other player can do.
Hmm.
Yeah, like so. If anybody's running PvP like that, that's basically if you have that spell, you're just basically immortal.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Uh,
I guess moving on from the bell gargoyles, what the next boss after that would be like the Capra demon, wouldn't it?
yeah, like uh you don't actually have to kill the Capra demon because there's a couple of ways down headed towards Blight Town. Uh but
Uh,
yeah, I would say either, the Capra demon or the Gaping Dragon. And which one do you like more?
um, that's kind of a toss up between me. I always kind of like the Capra demon, and the
Mhm.
only reason why is because he's extremely easy.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. Like a little breath of fresh air in Dark Souls from the bosses because a lot of them tend to kick your ass.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So like, I always kind of like the Capra Demon because yeah, it's easy. And there's also like a little trick too. Like you can sit there right in front of the fog wall and basically just throw things in through it and like kill the Capra Demon. You don't even have to face it.
Oh.
Yeah, didn't know that.
No, I didn't actually.
Yeah, I think it's fire bombs. If I might stand correctly, I can't exactly. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's fire bombs. But yeah, you can just basically stand at the fog wall and like throw a bunch of fire bombs, and then it kills the Capra Demon.
Oh,
Yeah, you don't even have to fight him. Like only, I mean, he's not even. He's you don't even have to do that because it's not a hard boss. The only thing that makes it hard is the dogs. If you get rid of the dogs, then the Capra Demon is easy as hell.
yeah, then it's just, roly poly.
Yeah, exactly. What about you?
Uh, Coincidentally, I would say the Gaping Demon just because of its presentation, and also just kind of it really leans into the this world has gone wrong kind of thing.
Uh huh.
Because that's it, or the intro cutscene for the Gaping Dragon. And I would like to point out that the Gaping Dragon is actually somewhat unique in the sense that it does have an intro cutscene, or well, not unique, but very few bosses do.
Yeah.
Um,
Usually it's the important ones.
yeah. And the gaping, or not the Gaping Demon, the Gaping Dragon. And you just see this little thing poking up, and you're like, oh, hey, that's kind of cute. And then this giant fuck you dragon comes up and then leans back, and its fucking whole rib cage is just kind of sitting there like om nom nom delicious pissant.
Yeah.
And like that, I had a genuine what the fuck moment when I was watching that cutscene. I go in and I'm like, okay, let's do this, and this little thing pops up, and I'm like, huh, okay, that's obviously something, uh, you know, or obviously that's a bait and switch, and then the giant fuck you dragon comes up and splits its middle open, and I'm just kind of sitting there like, oh,
And it's definitely one of those bosses that make you feel like a little pissant.
yeah,
He's fucking huge.
and
Also, for people that don't know, that's another one. If you cut off his tail, you get a Dragon King at a Great Axe. So,
hmm,
yes.
I didn't know what weapon you got off of the gaping dragon.
Well, it's a good thing I'm obsessed with this game.
N-
If
It's worth pointing out
I-
in the.
Well, in
And
fact, once we're done with this podcast, I might be jumping on to play a little bit.
get it out of your system.
Yeah, well, it happens to me with Dark Souls all the time. Every single time I talk about it, I'm like, all right, I gotta play a little bit.
And it's worth pointing out that Andrew's platinum the game, so like from a technical standpoint, he actually knows a lot more about it than I do.
For once. That is a very rare thing, man. 2020 is giving us a bunch of weird shit.
Lord, you ain't lying.
Yeah. But that is though, dude, like the way you put how his rib cage opens up and everything. Like the first time I seen that, I was like, I had the same exact thoughts running through my mind. I'm just staring at it, like, what the fuck is this? Like, am I supposed to fight this? This thing's got 1,000 teeth. How is this fair? You do get this is another one where you do get help, and like it's funny that we're talking about him because Solaire is one of the people that you could summon to help out on him too.
Praise the sun.
Yeah, praise the sun. Yeah, and it's pretty. It's another one of those where though, like if you did decide to go the faith route, and if you have a faith build, he's actually a little bit easier because lightning bolts and everything seem to work pretty good on him, or at least from my experience.
Against dragons in general.
Yeah, basically. I mean, they kind of talk about that in the beginning of the game too. So you know what I mean. I guess that might say that for our story one, but yeah, I like how they did that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and
You know what I mean? What's that?
I mentioned it a little bit, but I kind of do want to lean into it. Like, the gaping dragon after, or you get to that by basically going through some sewers, and that's already kind of a really shitty situation, and there's a lot of wrong that's going on in the sewers, and I do think the gaping dragon works as a pretty good capstone to that, because that's it. It's just
Mm,
like it's really hammering in the whole death, decay, this world has gone wrong aspect of
yeah,
the world design in general, and I really think it's a very thematically appropriate boss.
right, right. Yeah, I agree with that.
Mm.
You know what I mean? They did a fantastic with the bosses and everything like that, and like and how it like ties into the lore and everything. Like we're definitely gonna have a podcast just based on the lore alone.
Yeah,
Take
I
a
mean,
drink, future podcast.
please,
Yeah.
we do not endorse, excess drinking or anything like that. Please do not, uh, give yourself a alcohol poisoning or any other form of alcohol related malady. J&A holds no responsibility for any harm that may come to a listener for listening to memes.
It's just an inside joke, kind of. It's all good and fun, man. It's all good and fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but please no,
Good.
drink responsibly.
Yeah, just smoke weed.
Well,
There you go. You could why don't you just take a hit every time we say future podcast?
it's because we actually want them to listen to the whole episode. If we did that, let's face it, they're just gonna, after probably the fourth or fifth, they're just gonna doze off. Well, who knows if they have
Well,
autoplay on YouTube.
not everybody's low tolerance like you, dude.
I'm just saying the amount of times we say future podcast episode, I think we would knock fucking oh god, I can't remember his name. Good job. Uh I'm just saying we could put some people out.
So
Mm,
after the Copper Demon, what's the next boss that you have to fight? Because there's like always like those optional side boss. You know what I mean?
right. So after the Capra Demon and the Gaping Dragon is your next mandatory boss, and it's Miss Spider Tits, aka Qualag.
I think we all like that. Interesting.
Oh yeah, we were all just kind of like, "Ooh, hey, that's a nice." No, 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 no.
That's exactly what.
And it was
That's exactly how it went.
and that's I remember that's it going in there and seeing the cutscene. And it's just sort of like, "Oh, hey, she's cute. Oh, oh, she's got a spider for her butt."
Oh God, no! What was I thinking?
It's like I
Hey,
knew this was
hey,
gonna happen.
hey, fucko! It's called interspecies erotica.
Please don't bring the Sonic fandom into this.
Ah, that's from Clerks too. Just making a joke.
Ah.
Out of here. But this is a boss that like a lot of people in the Dark Souls community seems to have like a bunch of trouble with. I've never personally never had that hard of a trouble with Quay. Like I don't think she's that hard.
Yeah, I have to admit I'm in the same camp. Like, the first couple of times, of course, she's a Dark Souls boss. She's gonna kick your teeth in a little bit, but after that, it's just kind of like, okay, stay to the side or the ass. Don't stand in front of the fireball. And her melee attacks, because I guess if for some reason you are not already a Dark Souls fan and you're listening to us, Quelaag is basically take a giant spider and then around the torso section of the spider, put a half naked lady.
Yep.
Uh, and like her melee swipes and stuff like that. It's one of those. I would say Quelaag teaches the lesson, or rather reinforces it, of don't be in front of the fucking boss. Because all of her
Yeah.
attacks are very frontal heavy.
Yep.
Full frontal, you might even say. Haha.
Your
But it,
your joke was 10 times worse than mine.
dad jokes, I got them. But
I didn't mean it like that. I meant dirty.
that but that's it. As long as you're not directly in front of the giant spiky spider mouth or the half naked lady with a spear that hits from here to Kansas, you'll be all right. Swiggity swoogity. Stick to the booty.
Yeah. Basically, yep. You just want to basically ride it like a rodeo.
Mm.
It's like the mermaid style of a tarantula, basically. That's what you look like. Like I said, I never personally thought that she was that hard. Basically, just stay behind her. You know what I mean? And if you run
Mm.
into strength belt, she doesn't have that big of a defense, so she goes down pretty easily. Here, even if you run into faith or an intelligence build, like you don't even have to face her. You could just stay far away, dodge, like and just hit her from afar. You
Mm.
know what I mean? I think the only times that she probably would be a pain in the ass if you run into a dexterity build, and that's because you can't really get that many hits in before she's like popping up with the fucking fire and shit.
Right.
So, and if you are running if you are doing one of those people, you know what I mean, just summon somebody. Like there's generally I don't think there's any NPCs on Quag Lake at all. Not that I, at least from my memory, but there's generally that's one of the bosses that people are putting their signs down because you get a decent amount. I think you get like 20,000 or something from her. So
Mm.
you know
I,
what I mean.
Now, I think there is actually an NPC summon that's available. Um, like the bonfire down at the bottom of Blighttown where you just run up and toward her arena.
Oh, I think you're right. I think it's Mildred.
Yeah, it could be. Like, I don't know who it is, but I can seemingly recall there being a summon sign down.
I'm actually looking this up.
Hmm.
Be 100%.
But yeah, definitely
It's
Quelaag.
a dark phantom that invades you.
Yeah, Mildred's the Dark Phantom. Uh,
Yep, yep.
but I think Quelaag is kind of more uh, interesting, or is more interesting narratively rather than as an actual boss fight, and that's just because as someone who's always done, kind of like a pyromancy build in Dark Souls, I do love chucking my fireballs. She's interesting narratively just because the whole of the Witch of Chaos and Izalith in general interests me because it's kind of peeking a little bit more into the lore of Dark Side, or not the Witch of Chaos, the Witch of Izalith. It's more interesting to me because it shows that they knew that they needed the fire and they were genuinely investigating the whole aspect of fire and Lord Souls and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Did I fill enough time for you to find out the information?
And she's actually weak to lightning too, so
Hmm.
lightning builds people. It is OP in this game, and it is my favorite in this game. So you can hear me talk about chucking lightning bolts at people's faces a lot. I fucking love them, man. They just make me feel like I'm Zeus. I can't get enough of them. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I can't wait to do our lore episode and like getting into how these bosses tie in and everything like that because you could tell they actually did a fuckload of thinking of how that all ties in together. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It wasn't just like, hey, just throw it in together. Let's just make this like this just for the fuck of it and all this kinds of stuff. Like they actually did like a bunch of planning to do all this lore stuff. And like I've heard people that have played Dark Souls before and being like, oh, it really doesn't have that much of a story. Like, yes, it does. You just have to read.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like read the boss souls, like read the boss weapons, read the items, weapons, talk to the NPCs. You know what I mean? Like it's got a ton of lore into it, and like once you dive into that lore, it's like take a hit, future podcast. It's a ton of you could do an entire podcast on
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean? But yeah, to help people out, also if you're having trouble on Quay, yes, I'm going to be helping you out the entire episode. But to help you out with Quay, if you have any daggers or anything like throwing knives and stuff like that, if you throw it at her female body, it staggers her too. So to
Hmm.
people that are running like a dexterity build, just like equip some throwing daggers and throw it at her, and it stags her, you can get some hits in and get out.
Hmm.
You're welcome.
Fancy information. So, after Quelaag, the next mandatory boss, and there's a couple of optional bosses you can get. I think you can do like the Midnight Butterfly. Do. Definitely.
I the way I run through Dark Souls is like I already have by the time I get to Clay Lake, I already have the butterfly beat.
Hmm.
Yeah, I go to that's after I do the gargoyles, I go down to like the face of the butterfly because I like to get that the crest of our star or whatever it's called and to open up to get there in that invasion area because that's a really good place to farm for souls. So I'm
Ah,
like,
okay.
fuck it, I'm already here. I might as well go fight the butterfly anyways.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And I'm usually running in obviously I'm usually running a faith build, so like the butterfly is really easy with the lightning. See, it's gonna be
Ah,
a running
okay.
theme here. Lightning.
Throw more lightning bolts.
Yeah. It's just like how I do on J and A with aliens, and when we do this with Dark Souls, I'm saying lightning. You listen to J and A, you're just gonna hear Andrew, aliens, aliens, aliens. You listen to the Nerdborne, you can hear Andrew, lightning, lightning, lightning.
Which,
I'm obsessed, I know.
speaking of lightning, and speaking of Gwyn, and then speaking of Gwyn, one of Gwyn's knights, and speaking of tortured Segway, and speaking of Artorias, that brings us to the next mandatory boss, which is one we mentioned already, Sif.
Yes, this poor bastard.
Mm.
I feel sorry for this dog, wolf, whatever.
I like uh, I like Sif narratively, um, just because it's hint. I would say that Sif is the first boss that we get that isn't, like a demon or some fucking eldritch abomination. It's a
Yeah.
big dog.
Yeah, he's basically just he's just guarding his master basically. That's all he's really doing, but you have to beat him anyways.
Hmm.
Especially to get the ring that's behind the grave there. He's basically just guarding his master's grave. That's the reason why I've always felt bad for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't want to kill him, but you have to continue the storyline. So I tend to wait as long as I possibly can to fight Sif, just because I feel bad. I mean, he's not a hard boss like whatsoever. You just basically, if you stick at his front paws, like you just sit there and cheese him.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It's not a terribly hard boss. It's not even terribly hard to get to. I mean, if you really wanted to, you go face Sif early on in the game and get all those souls. Like sometimes I'll go that way and put my sign down just to help people out because it's a good way to farm early on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Um. What about Sif stands out for you?
Uh, it's one of those cases of ludonarrative synchronicity, in the sense
Uh,
that the boss Sif on its own tells, just a little story as you're actually fighting the boss. Because I'm okay. First thing is you roll up on this giant ass sword, because it's a boss arena and it's the only thing that's notable in the boss arena. And then this giant ass wolf comes out and excuse me, there's already the association just from the fact that the guard or Sif comes out for or due to you approaching the sword, so there's already that uh, connotation that Sif is guarding something important to Sif. Um, there's also the whole as you fight Sif, he, she, it, whatever. Gets progressively weaker, like its attack patterns change. And of course, everybody knows when Sif gets the low life, it just starts limping around and stuff like that. The
Yeah,
music for Sif too is also kind of very inherently sad and resolute.
it should be.
So you really get the the feeling that not only is this uh, kind of an important thing in general, but that it's a meaningful thing fight for Sif. And I'm sure people know this, but if you manage to do the Artorias of the Abyss DLC before you actually fight Sif,
Hmm.
um, then when you go to fight, or if in the DLC you can rescue Sif when she's just but a wee pup, and if you do that, Sif will come out and sniff you and be like, "Oh, hey, it's you." But then they realize what you're doing, and they just kind of really mournfully walk to the sword and take a battle stance, and it's just that kind of storytelling that they can weave in is really just it's fascinating, and that's part of why I say ludo narrative synchronicity, because that's it. They are telling a story through just the gameplay. I mean, don't get me wrong, all that happens in a cutscene, but it's all informed by the gameplay.
um, yeah, they really pull at your heartstrings.
Mm,
Yeah, that's I didn't even know about that cutscene until I think until like NG plus 3 or something like that. Like after I started looking things up and found that
hmm
out, and it just kind of made me pulled. I'm like, they made it even sadder. I'm like, I don't
Yeah,
want to kill this wolf.
it's
Let
like
him live, damn you.
and I would also say that Sif is the first like just normal living boss that we fight. I think it might actually be the only normal living boss that we fight, other than uh, okay, the Moonlight Butterfly you could say is technically just a living thing in the world, but Sif is really kind of just the first generic creature, and I
Um,
don't say generic uh, as to disparage it. It's just kind of like here's the first sign of something that's just regularly alive like us.
yeah,
Oh wait,
yeah,
well,
I get
we're
that.
undead, but anyway.
Yeah, I agree with you too. I was just about to ask you, is there like any normal like is that a such thing? Like even Sif, like you're saying, like he's like the only living thing. Like he's a giant ass wolf,
hmm
like a wolf the size of a Manhattan. I
Uh, like the
don't
Moonlight
think that's normal.
Butterfly, I guess, is technically just a living creature in the world. There's no
I guess that's true. Yeah.
special gimmick or shit like that behind it. It's just a giant ass fucking butterfly. Um, but Sif is like the only thing that's conventionally normal, I guess.
Yeah. I get with you.
Hmm.
I mean, as normal as you're gonna get in Dark Souls.
it's that's the only normal thing in Dark Souls is still a giant fuck you wolf.
Right? That's the most Dark Soul things we said so far.
It's a cruel world.
Yeah, for real, dude. I don't know, like I said, man, Sif is like probably one of my favorites. when it comes to this game. Like you said, Dark Souls and boss like, and he was the first one that popped up to me, probably because it was he's one of those ones that, like I said, it just pulls at my heartstrings.
Mm,
You know what I mean? He's just trying to guard his comrades, his fallen comrade. That's all he's really doing. He's not like, that's one thing we could probably say, that he's probably like the only boss in the entire game that's not like you would say is evil or anything like that. Like he's
yeah.
not like, yeah, he's not. Yeah, he's not evil. He's not like he's got like some kind of mischief like objective or anything like that. The guy is just trying to guard his fallen comrade's grave. That's it.
And that's
Or
why I
he,
brought
she, whatever.
and that's why I brought up about the music, because if you listen to it, it's sad, and it's sad, but it's resolute. Like, this is a course of
Oh.
action Sif has decided upon, that, it's she, it is going to, guard the grave of Artorias, and it's resolute because that's it. It's a choice. She's going to see it through, and it's also sad because here you are to more or less come fuck that up.
Like, oh, poor dog, take that sword.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
oh,
I
poor
probably never
Puffer.
noticed. I probably never noticed the music before because I was too busy crying.
Mm, it's it's quite the tune, and frankly,
uh,
take a drink. But I could do a whole podcast on just the music of Dark Souls, and the narrative or the thematics and stuff like that, because the music is a vital component to telling the story of the boss, just like anything else.
Yeah, I was planning to bring that up in our lore episode of Dark Souls, is how the music ties into like the how the great they did with placing music, not just only in Civ, but like basically throughout the entire game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like every single level, like we said in the previous, they're basically levels. Shut up,
Mm,
they're levels. You know what I mean? But every single level, they basically, the way they put the music is just basically, it sinks you right into it. Like it fits perfectly.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like even like the sound effects in the music that they play in Blighttown, that pretty much sums up Blighttown. Like you don't even have to show an image of Blighttown; just show just hear it, and you could hear those sounds and be like, yeah, that's Blighttown.
Start triggering PTSD.
Right? You could tell your therapist about it later. Oh, I say it's moving on from sip before I start crying again, and finally, finally making full circle around to dum dum dum. Ornstein is small.
Well, technically, there's one more boss before that, but
What?
honestly, kind of, yeah, the
Oh,
Iron Golem,
oh, yeah, that's true.
and
I
it's
guess
worth.
I was too excited to talk about Ornstein and Small.
I don't blame you, and let's face it, the Iron Golem is basically he's a breather boss, because let's face it, you just went through Sen's Funhouse,
Yeah.
so it's literally just okay. You know what? We kicked you through the teeth with the level. We're just gonna we're gonna make the boss a meme.
Yeah. Hey, he's one of those, if you just stick at his feet, you could pretty much just cheese him. I don't even do that, dude. Like he's like, again, like
Mm.
this keeps being running a theme, but he's one of those ones that is like weak to lightning, so you could just sit back and just cheese him with the lightnings and basically wipe your hands of him.
Oh, I think I might. I think I might have a strategy tip that Andrew doesn't know.
Uh
If you go into the boss arena and you run straight forward right behind him, he can fall off the ledge. So if you run right behind him and stand just off of the corner between the bridge and the main platform, one of his attacks will cause him to just straight up step right off of the boss arena, and then boom, you've killed him.
Ah, I didn't know that actually.
Mhm.
Uh
And anytime I do the Iron Golem boss, that's it. I just kind of, you know what? I do not feel like fucking dealing with you, so I just run over there, dodge roll one attack, and it's just sort of like and on to An Orlando.
I guess I'm gonna have to try that once I hop off this podcast. Fucking Sense Fortress, I hate that. I could do it. God, I hate that place. Fuck Sense
It
Fortress.
sends Funhouse.
Yeah, fuck that place. So I got let's the fuck Iron Golem. He's boring.
Yep.
Orange,
All right,
Orange
so
Stain is love.
Ornstein and Smo.
How's yeah, dude?
Mm,
Like I said when you asked me at the beginning of this podcast, like who's boss and Dark Souls, this is the second one that popped up to me. Obviously, it was Orange Tina Small because I like how you put it. It's the very first like boss you come up to it. It's just like they like, I don't want to kick you in your teeth and they make you choke on
mm.
them.
It is suffering.
Yes, it is. And even just getting to like that's such a pain in the ass, dude. Hey, every single time you die at that boss, like, getting back there. Like like any like vet in Dark Souls probably get running past like those big knights to get to them like no problem, easy peasy. But like when I was first playing it, like it was such a pain in the ass getting back to them.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. And then having to fucking face them, man. Like those are one of the. It's one of the ones where even I like my first like I could do it now, but like when I first started facing them, like I had to summon somebody. I was like, I ain't gonna do this. Like this is too much, man. Like it's unfair. It's 2-on-1. They're like gang beating the shit out of me. Got all
uh,
stomping my ass.
uh, I spent literally 24 hours uh, just trying to beat Ornstein and Smo. Um, like,
Solo?
yes, solo. Like, I am not the type of person who summons anybody for, my Dark Souls. I, I, I tend to find that, and it's nothing against playing with other people, but a difficult boss is a bit like a fine wine. It should be, savored and enjoyed alone. Otherwise, it could get messy.
Well, I wouldn't recommend drinking fine wine for 24 hours straight.
No, probably not. But no,
Jesus, dude, that's some dedication right there, bro.
that was a sleepless day and night. But that's it. It was just sort of like, you know what? I'm not letting this fucking game beat me. I've come too far.
Well, yeah, I would think about the 12-hour mark. You'd be like, ah, fuck it, I'm already all in.
That's it. It was just sort of like, okay, died, figure it out, do it again. Died, figure it out, do it again.
If you had to calculate how many souls you lost doing that, how much would it be?
Um, the national debt.
The national debt. That's great. Trillions. What a T. So, what was your strategy finally getting them down then? If you're soloing them,
The biggest thing was just kind of really stay on the move. Like, uh, Ornstein and Smo, it's a fight you cannot, or if you're doing it solo, it's a fight you cannot be greedy with. You have to be very patient. You have to wait for just the perfect opportunity. The main thing that I was doing is, get Smo, which is the fat fuck with the hammer, for anybody who doesn't know. Uh, get him like trapped on a pillar, and then just take one swipe at Ornstein. Just poke. Okay, keep running, keep running, keep running. Set it all up
hmm.
again. Poke. Keep running, keep running, keep running.
Yeah, that is that's actually the probably the best strategy if you're gonna solo them. If anybody does know of any like better strategies, like feel free to drop them in the comments or whatever. I mean, there's a couple of different ways you can go about it. It depends on what soul you want. Do you want Ornsteins or do you want Smurfs? Say if you wanted to get soul, I mean not
Hmm.
Smurf. I'm sorry. If you wanted to get Ornstein soul, and you try to kill that big beefy boy small first. Basically, what you got to do is like basically just run around the pillars to get Ornstein to attack you. Run up to the beefy boy, attack, and then do it all over again.
Yep.
And just keep going in that way. Like moving is your best friend. What's
Um,
that? What's that? What's that in dodgeball? Dodge, dip, duck, dive, dodge. Like the 5 Ds.
and this might sound a little counterintuitive, but Dark Souls veterans, I think, will understand. That is a fight best done naked.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
that's it. You have a much better roll. Your stamina comes back much quicker from having to sprint around all over the place, stuff like that. Um,
yeah.
there is one tip that I would like to share, and it doesn't matter what weapon you have at that point. The crystal halberd is probably it's almost like it's almost cheating when it comes to doing them because it's got, as long as you don't miss, it's got really good range, it deals high damage. You don't really have to worry about, repairing it or anything like that because it's a crystal weapon. If it starts getting low durability, all you have to do is upgrade it and boom, you're done again.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but the Crystal Halberd is probably the highest damage weapon you're going to be able to find in the game at that time because I don't think you can upgrade anything past like Titanite chunks or anything like that at that point.
Hmm.
Or no, it would
I
be
think I'm pretty sure you're right.
large Titanite shards. But either way, the Crystal Halberd, really powerful weapon that you have access to right before you end up fighting Ornstein and Smo. And
Uh-huh.
normally, because I generally just don't feel like dealing with them, that's my go-to weapon for just Ornstein and Smo, and then I'll go switch back to whatever weapon I'm deciding to play with for the that run through.
Uh-huh. That's a pretty good tip right there. Like I said, I usually, so again, lightning. I'm usually running a faith build, man. So like
Hmm.
I'll sit there and just like I can keep a distance from whoever I'm trying to kill first, whatever soul that I'm trying to get, and just like toss lightning at them basically until I'm running out of lightning. By the time I run out of my lightning and everything, one of them are down. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then you get like what you call, like I guess we call like the super smorts or Ornstein and Smurf or whatever, like
Hmm.
the charged version, and that's when I basically obviously use my melee weapon to take them down. I'm usually running with like the Astaro sword or straight sword or something like
Ah,
that,
okay.
something like really something like really fast just to get it in there, like slice up, get out, kind of thing.
Mm.
Yeah, but even if am running like a strength build, like to help people out, if you do decide to get the master key, you could just go get Havel's ring, and
Oh, right.
yeah, you could just equip that, and that I tend to go get the Havel's ring at the beginning of the game if I'm doing a strength build because obviously I'm running around with a big ass sword or a big ass axe or whatever. And if you equip that ring, it makes the moving around a lot easier.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just my personal preference. But like John said, getting naked too, that tends to help. Like running around in a loincloth, you can move a lot faster.
That's the biggest thing is that's it. It's where you really need to stay mobile.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you definitely do. Unless I mean, if you get somebody to help you out, if you like summon people, it does make the boss immensely easier, and you won't have to waste 24 hours trying to beat him. But no, for real, dude, like I mean, I don't know. I obvious that would seem obvious, but yeah, summoning somebody to help you out, dude. I mean, it makes it so much easier because like even if it's just one other person, one person can go fight some off while you're fighting Ornstein or vice versa.
Yeah, turn it
You know?
into consecutive duels instead of 2v1.
So let me ask you, I'm kind of curious on this. Like, is
Mm.
your let's just say hypothetically you're doing a whole new playthrough of Dark Souls. You get the Smorstein and Smough. Which one you killing first?
Ornstein.
Why's that?
Uh, Mostly because Ornstein chases you around a lot more, and his attack range is very narrow. Um,
Hmm.
like
So you don't give a shit about like what soul you get.
no, like if I'm doing just a run through, like I said, I just want to play some Dark Souls. Typically I just grab like a Claymore or fucking. I do have an affinity for Quaelag's sword. I don't remember what it's called. But it's just
Yeah,
a
it's no, go ahead. You're
oh yeah,
fine.
it's a fire scimitar basically.
Uh huh.
Um, and really that's it, that more often than not I'm just biding time until I can start chucking fireballs. I'm gonna be honest.
It's Quaelig's Fury Sword.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
That's what you're thinking about. And like, dude, way you are with fireballs is how I am with lightning. At least when it comes to this Dark Souls, it's different. Every single Dark Souls in like Blood, but like everything's different for me. I
Mm.
have my own little like go-to builds that I tend to do. Like every single time I do Dark Souls run, I'm gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna do a Dark Souls and do like an intelligence build, and the next thing I know, I got a lightning spear. Like, how the hell that happened? Like, I don't know why. In the what I think for anybody who is not a vet of Dark Souls, doing a faith run on Dark Souls is basically like playing the game in easy mode.
Mm.
Like, I know that it is. Like, you don't have to like jump in the comment section and say, Andrew, you take it easy, wait out, or whatever. Fuck you. I like the lightning. I'm not playing it to be an easy mode. I just like chucking lightning bolts. But yeah, I tend to actually be like, I guess I'm kind of like the opposite of you because I like to take down small first,
Really?
and yeah, I just like, I like Ornstein's spear.
Hmm.
So yeah, like it's not something that I actually like build a character around, but every once in a while I like equipping that weapon just to fuck around with it, and then also the reason why is out of
Mm.
smite because when I first started playing this game, dude, like Ornstein was the first one I killed, and like it took me forever to finally get Smough. So
Ah.
now it's like, yeah, now I'm like the Dark Souls vet, and I just like killing Smough out of spite. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a psychology thing. So, but yeah, I like killing that fat fuck.
Yeah, I can get behind
Uh,
that.
yeah, I basically just hit. I kind of like dodge around, like because I'm doing my faith build. I kind of just dodge around Ornstein. I wait for Ornstein to attack me, dodge, and I hit fucking Smough with a lightning bolt, and I just kind of
Mm.
rinse and repeat that. And it's like kind of like makes that Ornstein and Smough so much fucking easier because after I'm done with Smough, even so, like I know charged Ornstein could be a pain in the ass, but I just kind of like hit him with my straight sword, and I take him out quickly. I have no problem with him.
Hmm.
Yeah, I kind of like I solo run them now, like no problem. It's kind of hilarious because I used to have such a huge problem with them, just like yeah, just years ago, just having a huge problem with them, and now I kind of laugh at them. Like even if I go through, like to say if I'm doing a brand new run through and I
Hmm.
get to them and like I'm having a hard time, I'm pissed at myself. Like how the hell am I having a hard time with this?
I
Um,
get that.
um, that's how Dark Souls be sometimes, man. Like you'd be sitting there playing it, and like it like at least for somebody like me that's a vet, and like I'm like, hey, this is kind of easy now. I'm like, I don't understand why they have such a hard time, and I start like not really focusing, and the next thing I know, I'm starting to get my teeth smashed in, and I have to do that gamer lean up forward, and plus 100 concentration lean forward. You know what I mean?
Attention engaged.
Yes, exactly. So you have any final thoughts on Ornstein and Small?
Fuck them.
Very well put. I second that thought.
uh,
So,
oh, go ahead.
what's that? No, go ahead, dude.
I was gonna say to diverge a little bit. Like Ornstein and Smo are interesting kind of narratively because they are, you know, very shiny, sparkly knights in, you know, the very shiny, sparkling city of An Orlando. But I don't think they really add much to like the overall lore. Like that's, I mean, okay, they're two knights defending Gwendolyn. Great, cool. Or not Gwendolyn, Guinevere.
Yeah,
But they do. I get they do create, or rather, killing Ornstein and Smo is an interesting point in the whole Dark Souls experience, because that's it. Then you talk to Gwendol or to Guinevere, you get the Lord Vessel, stuff like that, and the game does kind of open up a lot more. And that's when you get to the B part of the quest, which is the Lord Souls. You know, you had the A part of the quest, which is ringing the bells of awakening. Now you are ascending through the narrative in an attempt to basically do what Gwen did or didn't. We'll get to that. Um, so okay, out of well, I'll pose this question to you again. Out of the Lord Soul bosses, what would you say is your favorite? Just off the top of your head.
Nito.
Hmm.
I The reason being is again, well, how we said for with Clay Lake, a lot of people have a really tough time with Nito. I never have.
Hmm.
I never gotten like why people have such a tough time with Nito. Out of all the Lord Soul bosses, he might be the easiest for me. Him, Quag Lake, are like kind of like right there.
Hmm.
Um, I think he kind of looks cool. You know what I mean? I kind of already get down there. Sometimes I do like a cheating run in Dark Souls where I'll get the master key. I'll go get the beat pinwheel and I'll get like the firing kin, and
Hmm.
then I'll go on to like join Nito's covenant to get his sword. And if you get his sword at the beginning of the game, like that, it really is playing the game on easy mode.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I just swinging around Nito's greatsword in the beginning of the game, dude. Like you basically just one or two shot and basically everybody,
Hmm.
especially the little haulers. You're killing them with one shot, but even like the tougher, not bosses, but the tougher enemies and shit like that, like you're basically hitting them with two hits and they're done.
Hmm. I've never done anything quite like that.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, dude. You can even make it worse than that. To help beat Pinwheel in the beginning of the game.
Hmm.
Like if you just have the patience to run it through past the skeletons and everything, and if you have the master key, if you have the patience to run it past the skeletons and everything, and get into like, because all you have to do to get to Nito is just hop into that coffin.
All right.
You know what I mean? You can, anybody who doesn't know, you could just hop on YouTube to look this up, and there's plenty of videos of people to show you how to do it. It's not that hard. You just need a little bit of patience. But getting down there, and then you hop in that coffin, and once you get out of that coffin, all you got to do is pray to Nito and bow. You're in his covenant, and you get the sword.
Oh,
And then
huh.
once you have the sword, you go down the pinwheel, and you basically beat Pinwheel within a couple hits.
Oh, wow. Huh.
Yeah, and then the next thing you know, you got 20 Estus Flies.
Damn.
Yeah, like I said, that is playing the game on easy, man.
A little
got
bit, yeah.
Yeah, you got 20 Estus Blast, and then you have Anito's great sword that you're swinging around. Like, basically, you could carry that all the way to Ornstein and Smough, to be honest with you. Like, maybe even past that if you really wanted to.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's basically play like like to get back to your original question,
Mm,
when you ask me about like my favorite Lord Swords, that's the one that pops up for me is Nito. Uh,
okay.
um, I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say he's my favorite. Like, I'd probably pick, I would probably pick somebody else as like, but he's just the first one that pops to my mind. You know what I
Okay.
mean? What about you?
The Four Kings.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
That's the one that pops in my mind too. I wouldn't say it's the first, but it definitely is up there.
Uh, the Four Kings pop into my mind just because of it's a very kind of weird boss in a way. Like, uh, the okay, or in order to fight the Four Kings, you have to fall down to that tower into the abyss and stuff like that, and that's it.
Uh,
It's just this completely black plane. You have these gray, almost tree-like looking monstrosities with these giant swords just hovering towards you, like ooh. Um, it sticks out to me just because of how visually striking it is.
yeah.
Like all of the rest of the bosses, and this isn't to disparage any of them. The boss arenas, they're thematically appropriate. They're all right. I mean, cool. I get it. They're related to the area that you've gone through. But really, when it comes to the Four Kings, they're just kind of like it's just such a major divergence from any other boss in Dark Souls in terms of thematics and setting, and that's why it sticks out in my head.
Yeah, you also need to go get the ring from behind, to beat Sif and get that ring just to fight them.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you don't equip the ring, you just fall through into oblivion.
you died.
Yes, for the millionth time. Yeah, no, also for anybody that doesn't know, like, if you're having a tough time with the Four Kings, not only equipping, I obviously need that ring equipped, but if put on Havel's set and Havel's ring and just basically equip like your strongest two-handed weapon, it makes that fight significantly easier.
Mm,
Um, I don't do that, but like it is something that like say if like I'm an NG and I'm helping somebody that's an NG plus, that's something that I'll do. Or so you know what I mean? There's somebody that's even on NG plus plus or whatever, like somebody that's like a little bit obviously higher. So I'll clip a have because they're basically like they're basically like all physical attacks. I know that,
right.
and you know what I mean? And like if you have a strong two-handed weapon and you can get one of them down real fast, it makes the fight significantly easier.
That's something I actually wanted to mention is that the fight has the potential to be another multi-target fight where you have all of them kind of coming at you and swinging. But if you can take one out, you can actually, if you can take them out fast enough, you can make it where it's only you're fighting one target, maybe two at the max, throughout the given fight. Like that is a fight where the best thing to do is burn consumables, like pine resins and stuff like that, and really just try and stay or kill it as fast as possible. Granted, that's the case with any boss, but I would say that it's smart to be a little bit unsafe if it means killing one of the kings faster, because that means that's it. You don't have to end up dealing with multiple targets.
Yeah, it's also like if you're gonna try the soul of the Four Kings, you might have a little bit of a difficult time. And if you have like one or two other people with you, it's a lot easier. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's obvious, but like how you said it, like getting one of them down fast is like that generally makes this so much easier. You know, as soon as you get one of them down and you keep going like that, like they're easy for me if I'm running strength builds, but this is actually one of the bosses that if I'm running a faith build, that kind of become the pain in the ass.
Hmm.
Yeah, because they gotta, like they don't they hit hard, man. They don't they're not soft hitting, and you kind of have to like stay close to them. And like how you said, you got to get them down quick. And I don't, not that my memory, I don't think that I think they have a pretty good lightning defense. They're one of the very few bosses in this game that have a good lightning defense. So.
Uh.
I'm pretty
hmm,
sure they do. I don't know. It's been a while since I've actually had to go face the Four Kings. So, but yeah, you generally, if you have like generally, if you have a strength build going on and you know how to do a strength build, like the Four Kings would probably be a little bit easier for you, but it's a little bit more difficult for any other builds. A strength
Uh.
build, like you have like your vitality is probably up, and like you can equip a lot of things and put on like the Havel's ring. You have strong equipment and strong defense and shit like that. But if you're running something else, you tend not to have that.
Hmm.
At least in my experience.
I'm not seeing any resistance information on this particular site, but a lot of that's recommendations are definitely, yeah, equip Havel's set, because that's it. It is complete, or they are mostly physical damage. They have, one spell damage attack really, uh, but yeah, not really.
Yep. Yeah, I kind of figured so.
Mm. So moving on from the Four Kings. And it's worth pointing out for people that don't know, you can do the Lord Soul bosses in basically any order, and we're just kind of going on, uh, picking as we go. Now, since we talked about the Four Kings and you mentioned Nito, that actually kind of knocks out both or two of them. I'd say, do you have any, like final opinions, final hints for Nito or anything like that?
Personally for Nito, man, when it comes to Nito, I don't maybe that's the reason why some people have like a really tough time is they're trying to like go at Nito like head on.
Hmm.
I've never done that. You basically when you fight Nito, you're obviously in like that big oval room, right?
Right.
I generally run to the right and try to get behind Nito, hit him a few times, and then run the other way because he's sending south skeletons at you like constantly. And if
Hmm.
you're trying to solo Nito, like I solo Nito, like I don't have any problems. I generally, it's like how you do it with like small orange and Smurf, and like back to like how they're warming you up. Like just keep on the move, man. Like
Right.
go to the right, get behind Nito, hit him a few times, get the hell out, and keep repeating like that. One thing that does help out is like if you have any kind of range damage that you can do, if you have like just locking on to Nito and hitting them with a few spells and then getting out of there, so the skeletons don't team up on you. It's not really Nito that's the problem. It's more of the skeletons, and it keeps
Yeah.
resurrecting. You know what I mean? That's what really makes this boss hard. It's not Nito. It's the people the fucking cocksucking skeletons that you've been fighting the entire time to get to him that it keeps resurrecting. That's what makes this boss hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so just keep on the move. You know what I mean? Like to go keep going around in circles, keep on the move. If you are running like a dexterity and a straight build, you don't really have any spells or anything like that. Like you are like you can always like I never understood like if you say you want to run like a pure strength build,
Hmm.
it takes nothing out of you for you to have pyromancy. Like you
Yeah.
should like in this game, if you're not running an intelligent faith build and you want to run a pure dex build or a pure strength build, I get that. Like I like doing that too, but at the same time, have some pyromancy in your back pocket because with bosses like Nito, that'll really help out.
It's worth mentioning from like a design standpoint that pyromancy in Dark Souls 1 specifically is really one of those kind of great equalizers, like it's kind of like that's it. It helps adjust the difficulty, because pyromancy, the only thing it scales off of is how much you've upgraded the glove. And don't get me wrong, spell or pyromancy spells do have some intelligence and faith scaling. But the majority of their damage comes from how much you've upgraded your pyromancy flame. Uh,
Yeah,
and for strictly melee characters and stuff like that, it's useful to have pyromancy just to diversify your options. Because there
mhm.
are a pretty decent variety of spells. I mean, a basic fireball is always going to be useful, and there's even, like AoE options and stuff like that. So, that's actually part of the reason I like it. It's because even if it doesn't do as much damage as like a pure strength or a pure faith build, it really lets you just diversify and play around a little bit.
Yeah, that is very true. Especially when it comes to Nito, like there's a pyromancy spell that basically summons up flames around you,
Mm,
and like that's a huge help when you're fighting Nito because all the skeletons. Like, are you sitting there and you're attacking Nito, and the skeletons start to surround you? Hit that spell, and then you can go right back to attacking Nito. And not only that, it causes damage to Nito too. So.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a big help. But at least I don't know. Like I said, that's the reason why I never had a problem with Nito. I don't know, maybe it's because by the time I always got when I first started playing this game, I was already warmed up because, like how we said, they're trying to training you for the next boss and so on and so forth. And like maybe all the prior bosses just warmed me up for Nito. I don't know. Like I've always never had a problem with him. I had more of a problem getting to him than I actually did fighting the best. God, I fucked the Tomb of the Giants.
Yeah.
I always every single time I talk about Tomb of the Giants, I always remember that one GIF where that guy's just walking with a lantern and he's walking down there. And I'm not the lantern, the torch, and he just like sees the big ass skeleton giant and he just turns around. And he's like, "Nope."
Nope. 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 Nope.
That's a nope skeleton in Nope Land, and I'm going nowhere.
Nope.
For real, dude.
Speaking of a note boss, I would like to discuss the boss that is so shitty that they actually change how you have to deal or how you do the boss, and that is the Bed of Chaos. Uh,
uh, Go ahead.
we discussed this briefly um, in the last podcast, but it's worth pointing or Lost Izalith, that whole area is it's not finished. Like that is a product of the game. Basically just having to be put out in order to get it on shelves and stuff like that. So all or the majority of Lost Izalith is just not a good area in general. And the Bed of Chaos is basically randomness the boss. Like there's the boss itself, I guess, just to outline it real quick, all you have to do is you just have to kill 3 targets, and then you have to run to the middle and kill the fucking gnat bug thingy that's in the middle. Like, it is uh, conceptually the easiest boss, but you're going to end up dying a few times just because of the method of the boss is basically bullshit. Because what happens is you go kill one thing, and then it slams down on the ground with giant area-wide attacks that also break parts of the floor that you can stand on. And the way it's different from any other boss is that your progress actually basically gets saved when you're fighting the Bed of Chaos. If you break one of the staffs that's restraining it and then die, that staff remains broken.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
that
it's
is,
funny. It's funny on the last podcast the way you put it. It's like, oh, I didn't know that it's basically just got rushed.
mhm,
Like I did not know. I didn't even know that until like we did that last podcast. So I guess that's something that I learned. But I personally always thought there was like an area in a boss that they just basically feeding you like a little carrot. Like, here you go. We've given you a
ah,
hard time.
mhm.
Like this game, like we've basically been butt raping you the entire time. Let me kiss you on the cheek. Like I thought that's what that area was.
A comforting pat on the ass.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess I was wrong.
Yeah, no, like when uh Dark Souls Remastered got first announced, a lot of people were wondering if they were going to go back and fix Lost Izalith. Unfortunately, that didn't turn out to be the case, but I do know that there are mods for Dark Souls that try to do a little bit more with or Izalith in general. I haven't checked any of them out, but it's one of those things that I've always kind of been curious about, I guess. Uh, Maybe I'll check that out.
Yeah, I might check that out myself too. To be honest, I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah, Dark Souls actually does have a pretty robust modding community. Um, a lot of speedrunners like doing randomizers or various builds and stuff like that. That's definitely worth something or checking out.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely have to look into that. That sounds pretty cool.
Hmm.
Sounds like something that, especially for me, that's pretty much done someone that's pretty much done everything in the game. Give me some new stuff to mess around with.
Yeah, add a little variety in life to your next run through.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because oh, Lord knows, every single time I do a new run through, the next thing I know, I'm chucking lightning bolts. Can't seem to fight it.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
you might like this one. There's a Dark Souls with guns mod.
Okay, yeah, that does sound like fun. Hells yeah. What you were talking about, Remnant?
Coincidentally.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, the Beds of Chaos. I always thought that it was kind of like feeding you the little carrot, but I guess I was wrong on that. And like I said, I don't know. Think there's really the way you put it. There's really not much there. I mean, it's like the easiest boss in the entire game. It saves your fucking like even if you die during it, it saves where you were at. That's basically it.
Eh,
So there's the Bed of Chaos in a nutshell. There is one boss I did want to talk about because it's like I wouldn't say he's like my favorite or anything like that, but
mhm.
he's definitely one that pops up to me when it comes to Lord of Souls because I like the lore behind him. Is Seat the Scalers.
No, he's the only one left to talk about anyway, so perfect timing.
Boom! It's not like that was planned or anything.
Segways, we got him.
But I've always kind of liked the lore behind them, and I guess we're gonna have to wait for our lore podcast on Dark Souls to dive into that one. That's the reason why I've always liked him. But him, it just as a boss, like he's one of those another ones that people seem to have like a tough time beating, but like
Hmm.
I never really have. He's kind of, I mean, I can see how he's kind of a pain in the ass, but he's like one of those ones like just stick to the booty,
Mhm.
like just stick to his ass and you can beat his ass.
Uh, it's interesting that Seath is kind of the combination of gimmick boss and boss because that's it. You can't do anything to Seath until you get rid of that staff in the back of his arena. Um,
Hmm.
but I do like Seath thematically and narratively because the first time you run into Seath, he kills you.
Yeah.
Like that is an actual. It's the first time that death actually gets treated differently in the game to expand a little bit. You know, you run into Seath's library, you go through that area a little bit, and then you run into him, and he's up on this pedestal, and he just nukes the entire area with these the spell. And when you die, that's when you actually get, instead of getting punted back to the last bonfire, you wake up in a cell, and that begins, I guess, what you would call Act Two of the whole area. And I do like the whole setup and payoff that they did, where okay, you first see Seath, and he kills you, and then it motivates you because when you finally do get to his boss arena, you're like, okay, fuck this guy, revenge.
Yeah, that
And
is very true.
I would reckon that many players, perhaps, well, I myself did this. I didn't realize the whole staff at the back, so I just saw the dude, and I'm like, all right, fuck this guy. Let's get it. And then when he wasn't dying, I'm just sort of like, okay, what the shit is this? And that's as I was, getting through the area, that's when I noticed, the tether and the whole staff being there, and I'm like, okay, let me just go whack that real quick and see what happens. And then it's just sort of like, oh, hey, here we go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not all that hard. That is funny. Yeah, the very first time, I'm one of those like guilty people that like try like all hell to take him out when the first time they encounter.
Hmm.
This kind of a stubborn bastard. And, like I was every single time, I still do it to this day to try to find a way to just take him out. Just be like the first person to try to take out Zeke the first time. Uh, I guess it's a stubbornness in me that wants to take him out. But yeah, like he's a pretty cool boy. Like not only the boss fight, always thought it was pretty cool. Like not only visually, but like getting to him, I always kind of like that area. It's not like hard or anything like that. You just
Hmm.
fighting basically giant mushrooms or not even mushrooms, crabs, aren't they?
Yeah, crabs. Or
Yeah, that's right.
um
Crab shrooms.
no, oysters. They're clams.
Yeah, clams. There you go.
Oh,
But
I
yeah,
hate those
that's what
fuckers
they are.
too.
Yeah. But yeah, like I was like, because I'm always running a faith build, like that
Hmm.
yeah, like you basically just hit them with like one great lightning spear and they're gone. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
like that's all. The area is always pretty easy for me, and I just like the way it looks visually. I always thought it was one of the most prettiest areas in the entire game.
Yeah, and we didn't actually talk about that during our last podcast when we were going over the levels. It's
Yeah.
an interesting area narratively just because that's it, or not narratively, but thematically because it's you're wandering across all of these invisible platforms and you really have to pay attention to the area in order to successfully get through it and uh I, I actually do wish we kind of ended up talking about that area a little bit more, but it is what it is on that one.
Yeah, I guess we can talk about the area when we do like the lore podcast on it. But I thought it
Mm,
was pretty cool, like the invisible the invisible fucking floors or whatever.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that took that took me a little bit to figure that out. I'm not gonna lie.
It,
It's just because like a Dark Souls, like it's a Dark Souls got this like wonderful like mechanism in the game that where you get like really nervous at dying.
mm,
They just like beat that in there where like you just feel very nervous to die. So like when you're like of course that's probably, I mean, let's be honest, like out of everything that kills you in Dark Souls, falling down probably kills you the most out of anything in the game. Just like
yep.
wrong footing and like rolling and shit like that. And by the time you get to that area, dude, it's just kind of like, where do I go? I don't want to fall.
It's I hate it and I love it. Like it's a beautiful area, but at the same time, trying to get through it is just kind of like,
And nervous as shit of falling the entire time. Then that's funny that by the time you get to the level and go fight Seath, and you can't kill the bastard. But that like I said, he's not like the my favorite or anything by any means, but I think visually he's the most stunning.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like the crystals and everything like that. I guarantee you, people, you're gonna hear plenty about Seath when we talk about the lore one, because when it comes to the lore, he is one of my favorite lords of souls. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think he's one of the most interesting.
Future podcast topic. Take a hit, drink.
Take a drink hit.
And I guess that leads us to the first Lord of Cinder himself, Gwyn.
My favorite.
Mm. And I would just like to take a moment. I discussed this briefly during the last podcast, but I'd like to really kind of lean into the music and how it really helps sell the fight. Because, normally li- or Dark Souls uses its music to help tell the story, and there's a whole musical analysis I could do with it, about the use of leitmotif and stuff like that. But um, for the last boss in any video game, you would expect this, giant bombastic, just bum 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 kind of theme. And no, when it comes to Gwyn, that's it. You get this very kind of sad, very understated, very somber tune, and it really helps tie the whole narrative of Dark Souls together. I think that this is a dying world. This is not um, don't get me wrong, Gwyn is hard and is as a fight is a pretty good capstone to Dark Souls in general, but it really helps sell the narrative theme of just uh, you are living in a sad world. Like this is not. This is not some fantastic battle against, a great hero of legend. This is just you putting a tired old man out of his misery, basically.
I've always thought about it like
Hmm.
Gwen is basically like Zeus,
Mm.
and the protagonist and character that you create is basically like Kratos.
Eh.
You kind of like show up like, "Hey, old man, you've been fucking up. Time to die."
That's an interesting twist on it.
I grew up playing God of War. Obviously, grew up playing God of War, so that's just kind of like my God of War of mine. The when I look at it,
Mm.
but That is true too, because they do the way they do set it. It is basically it's like a sad cause it is sad. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like once you that this is obviously something that's gonna be popping up in our lore episode, but the whole situation's sad. There's nothing. It's called Dark Souls, not Light Souls. You know what I mean? It's a whole sad like compare the situation that you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Gwen as a boss fight, it's not. I've never thought of him as being particularly hard. I know, like everybody's listening to this, like Andrew, you're not that badass in this game. Like I'm just being honest. Like I just don't think the boss is particularly that hard. Just basically just roll hit, like rinse and repeat. Like I've seen people on YouTube do it with like level 1 characters and shit like that. You ever
Right.
seen that?
Yeah.
Jesus,
Well,
fucking people got. What's that?
like any skill-oriented game, Dark Souls is a game that attracts a certain amount of people who just want to style and show off.
Yeah. Yeah, like they go to the like the whole they take it far out there too. I've seen people do it with like drum controllers and shit. Like, dude, you just got too much time on your hands, bro. Like, what the hell are you even doing?
There is a video, and I shit you not, like literally kind of brace yourself for this. Somebody took a bunch of bananas, like actual fucking, bananas that you can eat, wired it up to a PS3 or a PS4 controller, and beat Dark Souls, or Dark Souls 3 specifically, is the one that I saw, by wiring a bunch of bananas up and then hitting them like they were, drums or whatever to beat Dark Souls 3.
Why? That
Ah,
just
like,
dude, you got way too much time on your hands, man. Like,
like literally fucking bananas. Are you
yeah,
serious? Like, okay,
don't they
I
have a
can,
job?
huh?
Don't they have a job? Like, don't they
I've,
work?
I don't know, and I mean, not to disparage the guy or anything, definitely props, but at the same time, it's like, dude, fucking bananas, really?
Right? What's the fucking point of that?
Like, I know there is, or Dark Souls in specific has a history of, using like Guitar Hero controllers, or like you mentioned, the drum controls and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But like, that's just that's taking it to the that like that shit is literally bananas. Bananas. And it's just kind of like, my dude, really?
That's pretty pointless to me. Like, how you said it, yeah, props, but at the same time, didn't really have to do that.
Mm,
You know what I
uh,
mean?
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, but there is one thing I would like to bring up about Gwyn, and since you've done a lot more PvP than I have when it comes to Dark
Um.
Souls 1, um, Dark or Gwyn is interesting, I think, specifically because he's almost kind of like fighting another player, and I think maybe Dark Souls 3 did that whole little shtick a little bit better. But fighting Gwyn is basically kind of like fighting another player, but that player is significantly over leveled.
Yeah. Kind of. Maybe that's the reason why he was so easy to meet by the time I got to him, because I did like a ton of PvP before I got to him.
Mm,
Um, like when you do PvP,
mm-hmm.
um, you it's like everybody's got their own build that they run like to run with PvP. Like now there's certain builds that I could bring up that are like tougher than others, and of course I brought up that one where the spell's pretty much broken and you could just like pretty much cheese people with it. But that's
Right.
only the douches that are running with that build. Generally you get people like running whatever they. I mean I've seen people running with like Quaeleg's Fury Sword because it's
Mm.
got a like kind of like an offset move. You know what I mean? But what I'm trying to get to is that it, when you do PvP, you generally run into a bunch of people doing a bunch of different kind of builds. So you're used to like offset move sets. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Things that are like are swing slowly or swing fast or swing fast to slow or slow to fast or whatever. And that's kind of like Gwen is with his sword. He's kind of like got this like wide swing. And then by the time I got to him, I'm like so used to PvP. Like maybe that's the reason why I found him easy, is because I was used to dodging all those move sets. You know what I mean? So I didn't really
Mm.
find his like. Don't get me wrong, I didn't beat him on my very first try. Like it took a couple of times, but at the same time, it wasn't like it was Smurf and Ornstein or anything like that.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Uh,
I thought he was particularly on the easier side, but at the same time, like if you're not like paying attention, it can be a pain in the ass.
it's interesting that you mentioned that. Like thematically, I think that also kind of caps off Dark Souls. Like I thought Gwyn was a little bit more of a challenge, but still, like an appropriately difficult challenge, I guess. But he is kind of just technically also sort of an easier boss. Like I'm not about to sit here and say, "Oh, I beat him the first time," blindfold, this, that, and the third. Nah, it took me definitely a couple of tries to do it. But I think it caps off Dark Souls kind of again ludo narrative synchronicity for anybody who knows what the fuck I'm talking about, because it really shows the player, how powerful you've become, how you've overcame all of these challenges, and really, you in essence have surpassed Gwyn, not just in the sense that you do defeat him, but in the sense that you have uh, undertaken the same task that he has, and you have ascended to his level. Like the narratively speaking, the fight between the player character and Gwyn is very appropriate, and I think he does make a very thematically appropriate final boss. There's not some great eldritch horror, or you're not killing some aspect of the encroaching dark or something like that. No, you are taking on the OG that created this whole situation, and really just that's it. It's an appropriate fight because it does. At least to me, you might disagree. It does feel a little bit like playing another player, but just that player is juiced up a little bit.
Yeah, there is there's actually I do have right here an interesting quote from the game that
Hmm.
I kind of wanted to bring up when we came to Gwen, and I'm pretty sure this is like the definition it gives you for his soul or something like that. But I always like this quote because
Hmm.
I always dive into like the items and reading them and everything just to get to the lore, and this is like one of the things that like stuck out for me because like I like how you put it, like you went through like a bunch of things in this game and you finally reach like the Lord of Soul himself, basically. And
Hmm.
this quote is quote. Lord Gwen trembled at the dark, clinging to his age of fire, and in the dire fear of humans, and the dark Lord who would one day be born amongst them. Lord Gwen resisted the course of nature by sacrificing himself to the link of fire and commanding his children to shepherd the humans. Gwen has blurred your past to prevent the birth of the Dark Lord. Unquote.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know, right? Fucking toughness, dude. And I just give you chills. You're just a psychopath.
Uh,
But yeah, no, I always liked how they did when like I like how you put it, like basically when you once you get to him, it's kind of like you've overcome like a bunch of things and finally you take it down like the original Lord of Soul himself. And like he
mm,
kind of like how you said it, he kind of feels like you're fighting like another character. You know what I mean? It kind of feels like you're fighting like like you're in PvP. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But I guess to bring this to a full close, thank you everybody to listening to me and John nerd out about our Dark Souls. There will definitely be a part 3 to this about
Mhm.
lores because we just love this game so goddamn much. Um, thank you, everybody. Make sure that you like and subscribe, and make sure to drop any comments you have, anything that you thought we missed about the bosses, or anything that you think would have been interesting to bring up. Like we could bring it up in our next podcast. You know what I mean? We also hope that you guys are out there wearing your mask, washing your hands, and being safe. We know this world's going crazy right now, and
Mm.
John's usually got something he likes to say at the end of our podcast. John,
Be kind to one another, because this is all we got.
aliens.
Lightning bolts.
Oh yeah, this is Nerdborne, lightning bolts.